Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the HN Cut, where we give you HN's version or cut of a movie. Since we did Justice League last week, we thought it would only be fair to do Marvel this week. So welcome to Thor Ragnarok, the HN Cut. We begin the movie with Odin narrating Asgard's history from the days when he was just a young king. He reveals that early in his reign he had twins with his wife Frigga, one a boy and the other a daughter. As they both grow older, they become his war generals, as a young Odin was brash and arrogant, hungry to expand Asgard's power into all of the 9 realms, similar to a young Thor. The son, Balder the Brave, became known as the God of Light. He led the Asgardian armies into battle while showcasing raw power with his half-hammer, half-battle axe known as Stormbreaker. However, he only fought to conquer his enemies, sparing the innocents like women and children while also giving his enemies a chance to surrender. The daughter, Hela, became known as the Goddess of Death, as she had an affinity for killing and manipulating the dead. She would often fight to kill her enemies, regardless of involvement during a battle, growing hungrier for blood and war as time went on. With Odin as their commander, they conquered many realms until Odin received a vision that Ragnarok would begin after the death of his son. Odin then decided to cease further wars and conquest and instead regulate peace throughout the realms. While Balder followed his father, Hela refused to give up war as she had become obsessed with it. Odin cast her out of Asgard for refusing to give up her bloodlust, which caused Hela to revolt by murdering several gods and powerful figures throughout the cosmos, becoming known throughout the 9 realms as the God Butcher. After word spread of Hela's actions, Odin sent Balder the Brave to bring Hela back to be imprisoned. Upon a fierce battle in which Balder wins, Hela kills her brother after he shows her some mercy. Upon Balder's death, Odin personally confronts Hela, fearing that she is in fact the one to enact Ragnarok, and banishes her to the dimension of Hell. After this, Odin erases all of the history regarding Hela or Balder the Brave, locking up Stormbreaker and hoping to rewrite the painful events of history. In current day, Thor is imprisoned by Surtur, the fire demon. Thor hopes Surtur has knowledge on the recent activities surrounding Infinity Stones. While not having any knowledge on said stones, Surtur does say that he can sense Odin's time is coming, and when he dies, Ragnarok will finally commence. Thor says Odin hasn't shown any signs of passing soon, questioning Surtur's remarks, which makes the fire demon reveal that Odin isn't even on Asgard. Thor, deeply confused, breaks out of his imprisonment, defeating a few fire demons before taking on Surtur himself. Thor defeats Surtur, feeling like he has prevented Ragnarok, and now puts his attentions to finding out the truth regarding Odin. Returning to Asgard, Thor finds out, using a very similar tactic like in the actual movie, that Loki is in fact posing as Odin. Thor puts Surtur's crown in Odin's vault, and they go to Heimdall to learn about his father's location, which Heimdall gives even though he says Odin is at peace where he is. Using the Bifrost, they arrive in Norway where Odin is sitting on a bench, overlooking the Norwegian Sea. He tells Thor and Loki that he loves them, and that he's dying, which will allow Ragnarok to finally happen. Thor says he's defeated Surtur, but Odin reveals that Surtur isn't what will start Ragnarok. It will be the goddess of death, Hela, when she returns from banishment. After some goodbyes, Odin tells Thor and Loki to return to Asgard to prepare for Hela's return. Odin disappears into particles of light as the Bifrost returns for Thor and Loki. Back in Asgard, Thor and Loki find texts on old Asgardian history, learning about not just Hela, but also Balder the Brave. After reviewing the true history of Asgard, they prepare for Hela's return. Not too long afterwards, a portal opens above Asgard with a black and green beam of energy shooting into the ground, very similar to the Bifrost. From this, Hela emerges, taking in the changes to Asgard since she was last there, commenting that it looks weak and soft. Thor then arrives with Loki, the Warriors 3, and the whole army of Asgard in front of her. Hela asks just who he is, to which Thor responds, Thor, Odin's son. This makes Hela visually upset as she challenges Thor and mocks Loki for not even being a true Asgardian, being the son of a frost giant instead. A great battle then commences with Hela murdering Asgardian soldiers and immediately raising them from the dead to fight for her. She kills all of the Warriors 3 besides Sif and has enough of an undead army that Thor calls for Asgard's forces to retreat, with Heimdall leading them to a safe location. At this point, all that remains between Asgard and certain destruction is Thor, Loki, and Sif. They're able to defeat a good chunk of her army, but when Thor goes for a defeating blow, Hela catches Mjolnir, transporting it to a place unknown. After this, Hela easily defeats Thor, causing Loki to try producing a portal last second to get them all to safety. However, he messes up and sends them in different locations on an unknown planet. Thor wakes up with various scavengers attempting to capture him, recognizing the species as Sakaarans. Thor realizes he's ended up on the gladiator planet of Sakaar. Thor, after weakened from his battle with Hela, gets captured and brought to the Grand Master. An elder of the universe, the Grand Master explains the contest of champions and how Thor will be part of a new line of recruits. While there, Thor notices Loki, who seems to be friendly with the Grandmaster, yet won't help Thor escape capture. Thrown into a gladiator community area, Thor meets fellow fighters Korg, Meek, and Sif. Korg, being a veteran now tasked with opening fights, tells Thor that someone with his name recognition will likely go into the main event. Thor says he's eager if that means he'll leave the planet, so he gets prepped that night for the main event fight. While selecting his weapon, he picks a battle axe, reminding him of the weapon that he wielded once before Mjolnir. Back on Asgard, we see Heimdall having sheltered most of the Asgardian population in a secret stronghold. Hela uses a high-ranking officer in the Asgardian army and makes him her new general, calling him the Executioner. He's morally conflicted but carries out her request as well as he can. Hela also resurrects her giant wolf Fenris, along with her large serpent-like monster that she calls Jormungand. Hela then begins planning her expansion of conquest into other realms and planets. Back on Sakaar, Thor steps into the arena as he hears the Grandmaster announce his opponent. The champion of his people, the last survivor of the burning galaxy, Beta Ray Bill! At this point, a large, muscular figure with a horse-like face emerges from the opposing doors holding no weapon whatsoever. Loki is watching the fight next to the Grandmaster, and as they begin to fight, Thor underestimates Beta Ray Bill and gets a right hook sending him straight into the wall. Thor tries calling Mjolnir, feeling its presence out there in the void, but after a while of stalling, he gives up hope that it'll arrive. Deciding to readjust his approach, Thor gives a more equal fight to Bill. However, it appears to him that Bill isn't tiring at all, while Thor is starting to succumb to exhaustion, still not fully recovered from fighting Hela earlier. Beta Ray Bill also grabs Thor's axe and throws it away, making this a hand-to-hand fight. After receiving another powerful strike that sends him flying, Thor receives a vision of Odin. He tells Thor to embrace his godhood and power as the god of thunder. Thor says he doesn't know if he can even save Asgard, to which he replies, Asgard isn't a place, but the people. Thor at this moment leaves the vision and begins discharging electrical energy, which he uses to help defeat Beta Ray Bill. After winning the fight, Thor asks to leave Sakaar and be awarded his freedom, yet the Grandmaster says he still has one more opponent to fight for freedom, his champion. Thor requests the champion, to which the Hulk, in gladiator gear, emerges. Thor tries talking some sense into him, but when he calls him either Hulk or Banner, he's told that his name is now the Green Scar. This version of Hulk appears to be smarter, in better physical condition than the Hulk normally is, and uses proper combat techniques and weaponry, giving Thor quite a challenge. When he starts using extremely destructive lightning bolts against Hulk, the Grandmaster uses Thor's control collar to restrain him, allowing Hulk to knock him out of the arena and into an area that appears to have many of the Hulk's victims. Loki takes this moment to fake Thor's death by the Hulk, which shocks Hulk back into Banner. As Banner, he helps Thor and Loki plan an escape, taking Sif, Korg, Meek, and even Beta Ray Bill with them. Taking one of the Grandmaster's ships, they fly into a wormhole, transporting them to Asgard's realm. During the flight, Thor contacts Heimdall, who brings him up to date on his situation and helps him plan an evacuation for Asgard. Once they arrive, Sif sneaks into the weapons vault so Korg, Meek, Bill, and Banner can get weapons. Loki tries to meet up with Heimdall to stop the Executioner from killing the refugees, while Thor gets Hela's attention, and the two of them battle it out for the fate of Asgard. During the battle, Hela gains the upper hand and sends Thor into the ground, causing him to momentarily lose consciousness. During this time, Thor receives a vision of not just Odin, but Baldur, telling Thor the message of Asgard being the people, not just the place, but also Baldur telling him to not be a fool when he was fighting Hela. When he awakens, he sees Beta Ray Bill blocking a killing blow, saving his life. Thor gets up and it becomes Bill and Thor versus Hela. Sif, Korg, and Meek fight Hela's soldiers while Green Scar Hulk takes on Fenris. Jormungand is sent to help the Executioner kill the refugees. At the refuge, Loki gives Heimdall the coordinates to the Grandmaster's ship before running to Odin's vault. While there, he contemplates taking the Space Stone, and after seeing the eternal flame in Surtur's crown, Loki, knowing the tale of Ragnarok, understands that killing Hela's monsters is part of Surtur's mission, and so he resurrects the fire demon with the flame. Now reborn, Surtur is persuaded by Loki to kill Jormungand before destroying Asgard. Loki, gazing around the vault for another weapon, finds Stormbreaker, but upon opening its cage, it flies away. Back at Thor and Bill's battle, Hela fends off both warriors until Thor notices Mjolnir finally approaching from the distance, having made its way back. However, when Thor resumes reaching for it, Hela tries attacking him, not giving him enough time to catch his hammer. This doesn't matter, however, as Beta Ray Bill blocks Hela's attack with Stormbreaker, which appears to him to help him defeat Hela. And using its power, he shocks her as she recognizes the powerful weapon. Now with Mjolnir, Thor channels his power to summon the strongest lightning bolt possible to kill Hela. But it doesn't. Her abilities with the undead keep her alive somewhat. From the lightning, her flesh has been burned off and shows a much more skeleton and undead figure under her armor. Hulk kills Fenris and throws him off of Asgard, helping defeat more of Hela's army as well. As Surtur arrives and his size grows, he begins to cause earthquakes with each massive step. Getting told by Heimdall that Loki has unleashed Surtur and given him the eternal flame, Thor uses the earthquake to distract Hela. He then stuns her with another powerful lightning bolt before departing for the ship with Sif, Korg, Meeg, Bill, and Hulk. They depart from Asgard as they see Surtur presumably kill Hela and destroy Asgard into pieces. In space, they depart for Earth, as Thor plans on making a new home for the Asgardians. Thor and Bill are talking about what happened to Bill's world, making him the sole survivor. Bill says his planet was invaded by Thanos and his forces, causing the Corbinites to flee. When they fled, Thanos found their ship and destroyed it, but sent Bill to the Grandmaster instead of killing him. As they keep talking, we pan out to see Thanos' ship following the Asgardian refugees.